Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. You enter the room already judged. The meeting buzzes. A colleague drops a neat little barb packaged as humor, and the table turns to you, hungry for a flinch. You feel the hook catch, pride tugging hard, breath turning sharp. You choose something different. You let the words pass like wind over glass. You uncurl your jaw, your shoulders settle. When you speak, your voice is flat water. We'll stick to the agenda. The air tightens. Your calm becomes the center of gravity. Their joke dies without oxygen. The plan moves on your clock. Another scene. A family dinner where questions are traps. Why are you always so distant? The sweetness stings. You feel the old script starting, the one where you defend your worth like a defendant pleading for parole. You take a sip of water. You nod once. I'm here, no sermon, no biography. Your calm tells the room that your inner weather is not public property. Composure isn't surrender. It is a shield that turns their push into air in both rooms, the office and the home. The same principle holds. Stillness is not absence. Stillness is aim. Here is the price of a reaction. Every outburst pays your enemy. Anger is rent to the person who set the trap. Sarcasm becomes a screenshot with your name on it. Setting the record straight sounds noble, yet it feeds their script with free publicity. You think you are fixing the story, you are advertising it. At work, a snide remark drags you into a side battle while the main objective drifts out of reach. You spend an afternoon crafting the perfect reply, and your competitor spends that same afternoon meeting the client. Guess who wins? In a group chat, a defensive paragraph breeds more paragraphs, and the rumor grows legs. At home, a guilt trip pulls you into a courtroom where the verdict was written last year. Rage burns hot, then leaves you cold and empty. They keep the narrative, you keep the bill. Understand the geometry of attention. Your opponents, petty or polite, don't need to win arguments. They only need to make you noisy. A noisy person looks guilty, shaky, easy to steer. A calm person looks like gravity. People lean toward gravity. Watch a hallway after a meeting. The loud one burns hot, then fades. The steady one becomes the reference point. In families, companies, politics, and friendships, the one who holds still becomes the wall others measure themselves against. Restraint is not weakness. It is a budget. You spend attention only where returns are real. You keep your face from becoming a public faucet that anyone can twist. You save your voice for decisions that change the map. Now, the Machiavellian thesis: the appearance of virtue beats virtue itself. People trust the silhouette long before they test the substance. They see the mask and call it the face. So work the mask. Acting unbothered is not denial. It is governance. No one can read your heart in public. Only your posture. If your posture says stability, the room will plan around your steadiness. Doors open for the one who will not kick them in. Managers, partners, and friends prefer the person who does not explode under a camera, does not spiral on a thread, does not write novels to defend a rumor. They invest in predictability. Your calm becomes a credit score. You do not barter with moods, you trade in outcomes. The surface shows still water. Beneath it, strong currents carry your plans forward. Remember what virtue means in practice. Not sainthood, but usefulness. Goodness without force is a bedtime story. Goodness with force moves the day. The appearance of calm tells allies you are safe to bet on and warns rivals that bait is wasted. It expands your options because people want to stand near predictable weather. Your still water can hide strong currents, appointments made quietly, decisions executed cleanly, consequences delivered without a raised voice. You don't grip harder, you grip smarter. You decide what deserves your reaction and what deserves your silence. Most things deserve silence. You don't owe strangers your pulse. You owe your goals a steady hand. Let others spend their energy on theater. You will spend yours on results. Smile when it pays. Ignore when it saves. Speak when it moves the piece that matters. A ruler's calm is not a mood. It is a method. Choose the face that keeps the field tilted toward you. When provocations rise like smoke, be the clear pain they cannot stain. The room will learn that pulling you is wasted labor. In that lesson you gain time, allies, and ground. Rule your face, and you rule the field. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. They wrap the leash in velvet and call it kindness. You hear it every week, at work, at home, in your group chats. I'm only telling you this because I care. The words sound soft, but the hook is steel. What they want is not your growth. They want your face to flinch. They want your spine to bend in public so the room learns you are easy to steer. In the politics of daily life, concern is often a costume, and you pay for believing in the costume with your freedom. Listen closely to dialogues that look harmless. Your manager leans on your desk. You're doing great, but you shouldn't push for that promotion right now. People might think you're arrogant. Translation: stay in your lane so my lane stays clear. A friend says, don't post that project yet, it could make others feel bad. Translation: shrink so I don't feel small. A family member whispers, don't aim too high. We don't want you disappointed. Translation: protect our comfort, not your future. Notice how the leash tightens when you resist. The smile gets sweet, the tone soothing. You're stressed. Just rest. Let it go. But the rest they offer is not recovery. It is sedation. If you stop moving, their piece on the board doesn't have to move either. Real care prepares you for force and consequence. False comfort keeps you small enough to manage. If their advice mainly protects their comfort or their image, it is not love, it is insurance. Now look at love when it becomes leverage. Approval turns into a currency that buys your obedience. A mentor at work praises you loudly, then quietly adds, remember who defended you. Soon you are carrying their water in meetings, laughing at weak jokes, protecting their errors as if they were your own. A partner showers you with affection, then withdraws it after a boundary. If you loved me, you'd answer immediately. You start performing for warmth like a dancer paid in hugs. The team player friend cheers your patience in public and asks for one more favor in private, then vanishes when you ask for the same. This is not drama. It is bookkeeping. They credit you with praise. They debit you with obedience. When you try to renegotiate, the account freezes. You've changed. Yes, you stop paying the old tax. People who rely on leverage call dignity, distance, and boundaries ego because their business model needs you open and affordable. Remember this, a gift that must be repaid is a loan, not love. The dark clarity here is simple. Affection that can be turned on and off at will is a switch, not a sun. You cannot warm your life with a switch someone else controls. Machiavelli would tell you judge people by incentives, not promises, by how they allocate risk, not how they perform care. The one who gives you room to move is likely safe. The one who moves you with their room is not. Then there is the softest trap of all, explaining yourself. You think explanations clear fog. Often they invite rain. You face a circle of relatives with folded arms and patient smiles. You start listing reasons, long, honest, careful. You hope fairness will appear if you show your heart. But explaining to an audience that only wants compliance is like giving rope to someone counting knots. Every sentence becomes a handle. They tug a phrase out of context, build a new frame, and soon you are defending a headline you did not write. At work, you get looped into a thread where your decision is already framed as reckless. The temptation is to write a manifesto, to answer every angle, to be undeniable. By the time you finish, the headline isn't your decision, it's your defensiveness. The loudest person wins the screenshot, not the truth. You did not inform the room, you performed for it. And a performance is judged by mood, not reason. Here is your principle, short and sharp. Explanations are for allies. Performances are for audiences. Allies deserve context because they share risk with you and will use your words to build. Audiences deserve outcomes because they share little and will use your words to bind. When you feel the urgent pull to justify, assume you are being invited to a stage, not a table. Decline the show, choose the result. How do you practice this without turning cold or cruel? You separate warmth from obedience. You say thank you for advice you will not take. You accept praise without renting your spine to it. You respond to bait with boring sentences that end the scene, noted. We'll proceed as planned. Happy to discuss after we ship. You do not teach the room to harvest your feelings for sport. Your value stays in the work, the boundary, the outcome. Read subtext the way a ruler reads a map. Where does this road take you? Who benefits if you stop here? What does this kindness cost next month? Care that wants you weak is not care. Love that panics when you grow is not love. Advice that keeps you dependent is not advice. It is architecture for a smaller life. You are not required to hate anyone to see clearly. You are required to see, smile when you wish. Listen when it helps, but keep your hand on the dimmer of your attention. Your face does not have to flinch on command. Your heart does not have to kneel to be kind. When influence wears perfume, breathe once and check the label. If it says compliance, put it back on the shelf. Choose the sun, not the switch. Choose results over theater. Choose the few who make you larger over the many who need you small. Give no leash to false comfort, no permission to false love. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Your enemies don't need to know your heart to move you. They only need to know your handles. A handle is any place where your past still bleeds into your present, the soft spot that turns your spine. People watch for the blink when your name is mispronounced, the tremor when your work is questioned, the rush of words when silence would serve you better. They tug once, and you oblige, not because you are weak, but because unexamined pain leaks power. The state you must govern is yourself. The rebels inside you are old, but they still send instructions. Map the handles, hunger for praise. You glow when someone admires your effort, so you overshare plans to keep the glow coming. Anyone with a compliment can steer your week. Fear of conflict, you smooth every edge, so no one is upset and your schedule becomes a graveyard for other people's emergencies. Guilt reflex, a single sigh, a strategic silence, and you are apologizing for breathing. Hero complex, you sprint into fires that are not yours, starving your own fortress while neighbors celebrate your smoke. Each lever turns you not because it is evil, but because it connects to an untreated wound. Naming the lever is how you disarm it. Test yourself with simple scenes. A coworker says, "You're amazing, can you do my slides?" If your chest warms and your mouth agrees before your mind assesses, you've found the praise handle. In a stand-up, someone talks over you. You swallow your point to keep peace, then work late to compensate. That's the conflict handle. A relative reminds you, "After all we've done," and suddenly your weekend is gone. That's guilt. A friend broadcasts a crisis in a group chat, and you feel responsible to fix it before the hour turns. That's the hero complex humming like a siren. The pattern is mechanical. Your reaction was designed long ago. Consider the drama debt, how yesterday's humiliation finances today's behavior. A story in middle school, you presented a project. Your voice cracked, laughter flashed, quick and hot. A teacher tried to cover it, but the room had already voted. You walked home with a new law carved into your ribs. Never be caught unprepared, never be laughed at again, never let silence accuse you. Years pass, now you're skilled, competent, respected. But when a teammate raises an eyebrow at your numbers, the old law wakes up. You flood the channel with evidence, links, charts at midnight, as if ghosts from 7th grade still sit in the back row scoring you. This is how the past writes the present. You over-explain because a child's shame wants to be clean. You people please because an abandoned version of you wants to be kept. You brag because a small boy wants volume to equal worth. You dodge confrontation because a cornered teen believes any conflict becomes a dungeon. None of this makes you broken. It makes you human, but humanity is not a plan. Rulers pay their debts. They do not let debts rule them. When you feel an outsized reaction, assume you are paying interest on an old loan. There is no honor in dramatizing the wound, only utility in studying it. Sit with a notebook like a minister of finance, examining losses. Where did you last overextend? Who triggered your hurry? Which word makes you theatrical? Track the moments you regretted, the email too long, the DM too eager, the apology you did not mean. Cut the poetry and write policies. The point is not to feel better about your past. The point is to stop letting it decide for you. Now the Machiavellian cure, convert pain into policy. Start with this rule. If it touched your pride before, it will be used against you again. Prepare countermeasures. The pause rule: when you feel heat, buy time, count slowly to 10, inside a neutral face. In that window, you move from child to commander. The stone face rule: remove theater from your features. No eye roll, no sharp inhale, no flinch, let others perform, you govern. The exit rule: if the frame is rigged, leave the frame. Do not fight in rooms designed to make you loud and small. Retreat is not defeat, it is asset protection. Apply these in common fields. In a meeting, a rival says, "Some of us think your proposal is risky." Old you would fight the word risky. Until noon. Policy you pauses. You ask, which metric are we protecting? Now the room must produce criteria instead of gossip. If they push for drama, you go stone. Let's table this until we have numbers. You exit the trap without bruises. In a relationship, a partner withdraws affection after you set a boundary. Old you would chase. Policy you pauses for a day, observes the pattern, and names a cost. If affection is a lever, I won't dance. When you're ready to talk without switches, I'm here. The handle stays in your pocket. For the praise handle, build a private source of evaluation so public flattery loses leverage. Write a weekly ledger: goals, outcomes, lessons. If you crave applause, read your ledger first. Praise becomes dessert, not dinner. For the conflict handle, practice low drama no's. I don't have capacity. That's not my role. We can revisit next quarter. You don't owe fireworks to decline. For the guilt reflex, prepare one sentence that ends the spiral. I won't be available. No autobiography, no elaborate justification. The quiet boundary trains the room. For the hero complex, set a rescue budget, time and energy you can invest in others without taxing your core plans. When the budget is spent, the cape goes back in the closet. Install alarms for familiar bait. If a message starts, quick favor, your policy is to pause. If a meeting begins with public praise, assume a request follows. Ask for specifics before agreeing. If a family text includes, "After all we've done," set the phone down for an hour and return with a clear yes or no. Policies remove improvisation from moments designed to make you impulsive. Your future self will thank your present discipline. Understand the optics. The world rewards stable weather. When your handle stops swinging you around, your presence reads as trustworthy. You will not be the loudest person in the room, but gravity does not need volume. Quiet consistency attracts allies who plan, not tourists who clap. The fewer handles you advertise, the harder it is to yank you into side quests. Enemies grow bored with pulling a door that does not open. Friends learn how to knock. This is not about becoming a statue. It is about becoming a state. The state has borders, budgets, and laws. You will still feel hurt, still feel heat, but policy translates heat into action that serves your interest. The past can visit, it cannot vote. Each time you refuse to pay drama debt, you lower the interest rate. Each time you pause before performing, you weaken the handle. Over months, the map of your power changes. Fewer crises, better timing, clearer choices. Your weakness had a handle, now it has a password only you know. You have turned a wound into law, a trigger into a test, a reflex into a rule. When they tug, nothing moves that you did not choose to move. When they watch, they see a sovereign face, calm not because life is easy, but because policy is stronger than provocation. Name the handle, write the law, keep the crown. The vulgar are always taken by appearances, and the world is composed of the vulgar. They bait you in public because public is a weapon. The room becomes a theater, the chat a stage, the feed a courtroom. You feel the tug, face flushing, breath chopping. You are about to play the role they cast for you. The mask that gave you power begins to crack. Learn the sequence like a general studies routes, prod, flare, apology tour. See it early and you cut the cord before the fall. First, the prod. It is not random. A jab arrives wrapped in humor, policy, or piety. Some of us are worried about transparency, just asking questions. I love your passion, but timing is chosen when stakeholders watch. When allies are absent, when numbers aren't at hand. The audience is selective, just enough to matter. The frame is false. You are cast as reckless, selfish, or incompetent. Answer inside that frame, and you concede the premise before you speak. Second, the flare. You take the bait, you rush to defend your soul when only your decision was accused. Words pour long threads, rapid replies. A voice climbing stairs two at a time. You try to fix the story in real time, but the crowd reads only heat. A camera appears, literal or imagined. Your face, your hands, your breath become evidence against you. The provocateur steps back and plays calm. Your rise makes their poise read as virtue, your honesty as instability. Third, the apology tour. Exhausted and afraid, you explain to anyone who will listen. You DM opponents. Just so you know my heart. You book clarifying calls with people who were never confused. You publish statements no one asked for. Each repair spreads the stain to fresh cloth. Screenshots travel. Summaries harden. You trade days of work for hours of theater and end with less respect than when you started. The spiral completes prod, flare, apology tour. Treat this like engineering, not emotion. Crowds remember the shape of a scene, not the substance. The steady voice and still face anchor perception. The fracture becomes the cautionary tale. The jab is public and the praise is private. The frame is moral, not technical, so any silence looks guilty and any speech looks panicked. Your counter is not confession, but control. Refuse the frame, move the decision. Understand the price of collapse. It is not only feelings, it is credibility, capital. Reputations run on 10 words. After a meltdown, your 10 are brutal, smart but dramatic, talented but unstable, thin-skinned under pressure. One loud hour can shadow years. People plan around your volatility, no sensitive tasks. Fewer rooms, fewer chances to lead. The work you did is eclipsed by a scene you wish you could cut. Credibility is saved slowly and lost quickly. You saved it by shipping on time, forecasting risks, taking responsibility without theater. You lose it by letting others set your tempo. Leaders don't insure against all mistakes. They insure against reputational bankruptcy. Restraint is that insurance, not silence forever, but silence until thinking returns. Markets forgive an ugly headline. They don't forgive a pattern. Become the person who doesn't supply the pattern. Notice how labels spread. Brilliant, but intense. We need someone calmer. Soon the but becomes the biography. Doors close without saying they're closed. Invitations vanish before they're drafted. The injustice burns and the burn tempts you to one more dramatic defense, which confirms the label. Break the loop with discipline, not eloquence. Here is your hard reset, the silent cut and tactical distance. Step 1, go quiet. No corrections, no late night threads, no second act. Quiet is the emergency brake. Tell one trusted ally, I'm pausing for a day, and do it. Sleep, walk, write privately. The world will fish for a scene. Give them a pond with no fish. The absence of fuel cools a flame faster than any speech. Step 2, reappear with neutral tone and decisive action. Return with a short agenda and a clean face. Here are the numbers. Here is the timeline. Here is the fix. Not a syllable about motives or rumor correction. Move the piece that matters. When asked about the prior event, answer like weather. We've moved on. The goal isn't to rewrite the past. It's to write the next page so clearly the last one is skimmed. Action is reputation, medicine. Deliver something useful and let usefulness speak. Use tactical distance where the frame is poisoned. If a meeting is built to stage your collapse, decline it and propose a written decision log. If a thread is full of spectators, move to a smaller room with decision makers only. If a person treats you as a character in their theater, restrict access and raise the price of admission. The fewer stages you enter, the fewer scenes can be shot. Do not fight the director. Cancel the show. Train your body to support policy. Breathe low. Keep sentences short. Sit still when you want to point. Look at the agenda, not the provocateur. Prepare one line you can use under fire. Let's stick to the decision criteria. Repeat it like a metronome until the room remembers why it exists. If the heat keeps rising, end the meeting. We don't have the data. We'll reconvene with numbers. You are not avoiding conflict. You are choosing terrain. Adopt a ritual after any slip. Write the sequence, name the cost, set a countermeasure, prod joke about timeline, flare raised voice, apology tour 3 DMs, cost, trust dipped, counter pause, rule decision log 24-hour delay on replies. Don't pace the room inventing myths about enemies. Build fences. Every cycle you break returns a block of credibility to your treasury. You cannot stop all prods. You can stop volunteering for the flair and the tour. The world is crowded with spectators. Do not become entertainment. If you must be cinematic, let it be in your precision. The calm entry, the clear chart, the finished work. The person who keeps shape under pressure becomes the reference everyone else orbits. Hold your mask not as a lie, but as a tool. Behind it, your character does the steady work. In front of it, rivals find nothing to grip. When the next jab comes, you will feel the crack begin. Choose not to split, disappear for a breath, and return with a plan. That is not hiding, that is rule. Go quiet, return with proof, keep your shape. They called it love. It was management. You were told the tone was tender, the words protective, the advice helpful. But watch what followed your yes. Your choices shrank, your time bent, your face learned to flinch on cue. Care that narrows you is not care. It is a harness stitched with soft thread. You were not being embraced, you were being arranged. Start with labels that free you. 2 lenses, same scene. A partner says, "I'm just worried about you taking that new role." It's a lot. Through the affection lens, you hear shelter. Through the influence lens, you see placement. Keep you in reach, keep you predictable, keep you available for their schedule. A mentor says, "Don't pitch that idea yet. People might think you're too ambitious." Through affection, you hear protection. Through influence, you see a stall that saves their position. A friend murmurs, "Posting your win right now could upset the group." Affection says harmony. Influence says, "Dim so I don't look dull." Relabeling is not bitterness, it is vision. When you call leverage by its name, the spell breaks. Loved becomes leveraged. You don't have to fight, you don't have to accuse, you simply stop obeying the label. The room can keep its soothing phrases, you will read the map. If the words shrink your radius, the meaning is management. If the words widen your reach, the meaning is care. Look again at the history. They urged rest. When you gathered momentum, they applauded humility when you asked for pay. They praised loyalty when you sought different walls. Their devotion came with requests. Their support came with strings. Their affection came with a timetable. The lesson is blunt. What looks like warmth can be a thermostat built to control you. Lower your temperature, and they call it love. Shift now from feelings to outcomes. Use the ruler's arithmetic. Keep a ledger, not a diary. The question isn't, how do I feel after this conversation? The question is, do I have more or fewer options? Every touch leaves numbers behind. Meeting with a concerned colleague. Did your project timeline expand or contract? Talk with a parent about your move. Are you clearer or more entangled? Call with the team player friend. Are you committed to 3 new favors, or did you set one boundary that stuck? You are not cruel to measure. You are sane. Write it down in plain columns. Time, energy, money, attention, reputation. After the interaction, mark plus or 1. Did this person add time to your calendar or take it? Did they give energy or drain it? Did they guard your name or put it on a rumor thread? If the numbers lean negative across months, don't argue with the story they tell. Adjust exposure. Reduce access. Change terms. Kings don't hate the rain, they build roofs. Use the ledger in small moments too. A partner says, "If you loved me, you'd answer instantly." Tally the cost. Constant reach equals 0 focus. A boss says, "Just hop on for 5 minutes, 5 times a day." Tally the cost. Shattered deep work. Weaker output, lost leverage. A relative says, "After all we did for you, you could stay closer to home." Tally the cost. Stalled growth, silent resentment, predictable holidays. You don't need to preach, you need to price. Now choose virtue over virtue. Virtue pleases the crowd. Virtue moves the peace. Virtue is flexible force. Courage enough to say no, cunning enough to deflect a trap, timing sharp enough to speak late rather than early. Emotional neutrality is not coldness. It is a tool that keeps your hands steady on the chessboard. You are not required to perform warmth to prove you're good. You are required to protect your capacity to act. Practice the moves. Courage. I'm taking the role. No tremor, no essay. Cunning, that's one view. Let's check the metrics. The fog of opinion clears when you pull out a map. Timing, when a public jab seeks your heat, you reply 2 days later with a result. The crowd forgets the noise. They remember the shipment. This is not rudeness. It is governance of your calendar, your emotions, your brand. There is a difference between pleasing and ruling. Pleasing asks permission. Ruling sets terms. Pleasing keeps you under surveillance. Ruling chooses what is visible. When people say your calm is cold, translate, your calm is expensive. I can't move you for free. Emotional neutrality reduces your price. It raises your value. It attracts those who trade in outcomes and bores those who trade in drama. You will meet pushback. The old labels will be waved like flags. You're ungrateful. You've changed. You're distant. Smile once, privately. The audit changed. The budget changed. The kingdom changed. You can love people and still refuse their management. You can be kind without being captured. You do not have to shout this. You have to live it. Keep 3 sentences ready. Thanks for the advice. I'm proceeding. I don't have capacity for that. We'll review after delivery. Short, neutral, repeatable. They turn a tug-of-war into a posted policy, and policy is how you escape the soft cage. Policies save you from relitigating the same scene every month. Policies make your future predictable to you and less usable to others. The reframing is complete when you no longer ask, "Do they love me?" You ask, "Does this structure let me move?" When the structure says yes, you invest. When it says no, you adjust. You will be accused of being strategic. That is correct. Life is a field of forces. You can be snow or you can be stone. They called it love. It was management. You call it by its name. You choose the ledger, the timing, the still face. You keep your warmth for those who grow you. You reserve your obedience for your purpose. You do not bend to hands that only want a softer shape. Less pleasing, more virtue. Calm is a weapon you build before the battle. You don't stumble into being unbothered. You schedule it. You brief yourself like a commander entering a contested city. Preparation is mercy to your future self, because future you will have less sleep, less patience, and more spectators. Write the plan when the room is quiet. First, who benefits if you react? Name them. If your outburst buys their headline, your anger is already priced into their strategy. Second, what outcome do you want by week's end? Decision, budget, timeline, hire. Fix it in a single sentence you can repeat under pressure. Third, what face will you wear? Choose it now. Still brow, level eyes, voice like a metronome. Public composure is not a feeling, it is a uniform you put on before you enter the arena. Add 2 more checks. What facts will you state and which questions will you refuse? Keep the list short enough to memorize. Finally, where will you park your pride? Pride is gasoline near a matchbox. Acknowledge it before others light it. Tell yourself, we are here to win the map, not the moment. When the meeting starts, you are already armed with clarity. The scene may swirl, but your compass is set. Now you build your scripts. The sentences that hold your shape when pressure rises. Think of them as tools on a belt. Use stone, smoke, and steel. Stone is neutral containment. It denies emotional fuel. Your voice is flat water. Your eyes are steady. The words are short enough to find under stress. Noted. We'll circle back. Let's stay with the agenda. Stone is boring by design. Boring cools the room. In a call where a colleague slips a playful jab, some people just love to complicate things. You answer, noted. Agenda item 2. No lecture, no heat. The jab falls to the floor and crawls away. Stone also protects you from flattery as leverage. When a stakeholder opens with sugar before asking for a free sprint, you say, thanks. Send the brief. You do not donate a weekend to dopamine. You convert theater into paper where reasonable work goes to live or die. Stone keeps your calendar sovereign. With stone, you treat applause as weather. You carry an umbrella and keep walking. Smoke is redirect and fog, not deceit, discipline. It moves the room from heat to facts, from personalities to criteria. The sentences are bridges. That's one view. Let's look at the numbers. What decision are we making? Which metric are we protecting? When a thread swells with takes about your style, you reply once. Attach the KPI you want to optimize. We'll choose the plan that moves it. Smoke forces the drama to flow around data or evaporate. Use smoke when the frame is moral, but the stakes are technical. You don't care about the team. Answer. Here's the head count ratio and outage risk. Which trade-off do you prefer? You are not cold, you are specific. If they insist on biography, refuse the role and return to the map. Facts aren't always loved, but they are hard to gossip about. Smoke swaps theater for criteria and replaces mood with math. Steel is boundary and cost. It is clean, decisive, and quiet. Use it when the line is crossed, when disrespect becomes tactic, or when waste becomes culture. The phrases are simple and final. Repeat that, and the discussion ends. We're done here. If this continues, this meeting ends and we reschedule without you. Steel is not rage. Rage is theater. Steel is policy voiced aloud. A manager undermines you in front of juniors. Old you argues, steel you says, "We'll end now and reconvene with you and me offline." Then you end it. Later you set terms, future critique is private. Live undermining ends access. If the pattern persists, you raise the price. Remove audience, remove budget, remove role. Enforcement, not fury, changes behavior. Steel turns boundaries into costs others can count. Stone, smoke, and steel work together. Stone is your baseline. Smoke is your pivot. Steel is your sword still in its scabbard, visible enough to be remembered. Practice these lines until your mouth knows them without your mind's permission. Under fire, you won't invent poetry. You'll reach for the tool you trained. Repetition is how you transfer power from emotion to procedure. Finally, the discipline of distance. Exit as strategy. Withdrawal is not weakness. It is selection. A sovereign chooses terrain. Leave when the room is stacked, the frame is rigged, or the audience is hostile. Stacked means the outcome was decided before you arrived. Rigged means every answer breeds a new accusation. Hostile means spectators want blood, not truth. Recognize each quickly. Stacked, you hear consensus, but see one option with a ribbon on it. Rigged, questions shaped to make you over-explain until you look guilty. Hostile, side jokes in chat, clipped screenshots, a crowd primed for spectacle. Do not serve yourself to that fire. Step out. We're not making decisions here. Send the draft, or we'll reconvene with decision makers only. Or simplest, end the call and reschedule with a smaller table. Some will call it dramatic. Let them. You don't play on stages built to humiliate you. Distance also means time. Delay is a weapon when the crowd is hungry. You do not have to answer today. Write your plan. Gather numbers. Sleep. Return when heat has fallen and the field is quiet enough for precision. If they say you are hiding, remember you hunt outcomes, not applause. The forest favors the patient. Make exit a habit at home too. When a partner escalates mid-argument, say, "We'll talk tomorrow." When a relative tries to litigate holidays in front of spectators, say, "Email me your plan." When a friend uses crisis as a constant key to your door, set a rescue budget and stick to it. Protect your peace like a budget line item. Peace funds judgment. Judgment funds victory. Build your protocol into routines. Before big meetings, run the pre-brief aloud. Keep your scripts on a card. After, do a 5-minute debrief. Where did you hold stone? When did you use smoke? Where should steel have appeared sooner? Adjust. Protocols are alive. They sharpen with use. Over weeks, your calm stops being a mood and becomes a system. Rivals test you, then grow bored. Allies bring tougher problems because you do not melt. This is not about being untouchable. It is about being governable by you. You respect your future self enough to prepare. You refuse to donate emotion to other people's budgets. You make distance a tool and boundaries a language. You are not noisy, you are inevitable. Calm does not mean soft. It means sharp at the right time, silent at the wrong time, and steady all the time. Build the policy now so the moment cannot spend you later. The battle is daily, but so is the victory of refusing bait, choosing terms, and shipping results. Your mask is not a lie, it is armor. Behind it, your real face rests in plans. Prepare, pick your script, and leave when the room deserves your absence. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Command begins inside. You choose quiet not because you are weak, but because your attention is a currency and you spend it like a ruler. Watch what calm buys you. When you stop paying provokers with your reactions, you start buying better timing. Meetings slow down to your pace. You hear what others miss. the hesitation before a lie, the number that doesn't fit, the ally who speaks softly but delivers. Calm multiplies opportunities. A recruiter notices your steadiness on a tense call and bumps you to the final round. A customer trusts you with a bigger contract because you don't bargain with panic. A partner opens up after you refuse to escalate. You are not passive, you are patient, and patience grows the harvest. Peace is return on attention. Compare 2 days. One is spent arguing in threads, proving points, correcting tone, you end empty, with nothing shipped. The other is spent quietly advancing the plan, 3 focused hours, 2 precise emails, 1 clear decision. Which day compounds? Calm is not a mood. It is an asset that makes everything you touch more valuable. People seek the calm player when stakes rise. They bring you problems that matter. With calm you buy choice, when to speak, where to fight, how to win. Build your circle of control. Picture a throne room, small, guarded, lit by a single clear flame. At the door stands your policy, only goals and loyal facts may enter. No rumors, no borrowed outrage, no tasks that serve another's vanity over your mission. When fear knocks, you ask for evidence. When flattery knocks, you ask for terms. When guilt knocks, you ask for the bill. If they cannot pay in facts, they wait outside. The chamber stays clean. Every morning sweep the room. Name the 3 outcomes that matter and put them on the table. Everything else stands by the door until these are served. When someone pushes a crisis at you, walk them to the threshold. Does this change our top 3 outcomes? If not, the crisis waits in the hall. Your mind learns the habit of order. Your team learns your borders. Peace becomes predictable, not accidental. Keep symbols you can carry through the day. A ring you turn when bait appears. A breath measured to the length of a short sentence. Not now, not here. A rule engraved on the inside of your palm. Heat is not a reason. These are not superstitions. They are handles you control. The world pulls, you hold. The room grows loud. Your chamber stays lit. With this circle intact, you can finally speak like a sovereign. Calm does not forbid force. It chooses its moment. When you move once. A boundary stated once, enforced once, becomes law. A decision explained once to allies, never to audiences, becomes direction. You stop narrating and start governing. People feel the difference. The ones who loved your chaos drift away. The ones who value results step closer. Now the final oath. Write it not in marble, but in your routines. No free reactions. If someone wants your heat, make them pay with facts. Time on the calendar, and a clear objective. No public spirals. If a scene begins, you end it or exit it. You are not entertainment. No cheap battles. If it won't matter in 3 months, it won't matter in 3 minutes. You fight for the ledger, not for the applause. Say the oath before hard rooms. Say it after small slips. Say it when you are tired and when you are tempted. The quiet crown is not given. It is worn hour by hour by the person who protects their inner court from noise and keeps their face from becoming a lever. That is how you keep your future from being priced by strangers. That is how you trade provocation for power and storm for signal. Choose peace because it pays. Guard the chamber because it guides. Rule your attention because it rules your life. Rule your face. Guard your throne. Spend your calm. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Command begins inside. You choose quiet not because you are weak, but because your attention is a currency and you spend it like a ruler. Watch what calm buys you. When you stop paying provokers with your reactions, you start buying better timing. Meetings slow down to your pace. You hear what others miss, the hesitation before a lie, the number that doesn't fit, the ally who speaks softly but delivers. Calm multiplies opportunities. A recruiter notices your steadiness on a tense call and bumps you to the final round. A customer trusts you with a bigger contract because you don't bargain with panic. A partner opens up after you refuse to escalate. You are not passive, you are patient, and patience grows the harvest. Peace is return on attention. Compare 2 days. One is spent arguing in threads, proving points, correcting tone. You end empty, with nothing shipped. The other is spent quietly advancing the plan. 3 focused hours, 2 precise emails, 1 clear decision. Which day compounds? Calm is not a mood. It is an asset that makes everything you touch more valuable. People seek the calm player when stakes rise. They bring you problems that matter. With calm, you buy choice. When to speak, where to fight, how to win. Build your circle of control. Picture a throne room, small, guarded, lit by a single clear flame. At the door stands your policy. Only goals and loyal facts may enter. No rumors, no borrowed outrage. No tasks that serve another's vanity over your mission. When fear knocks, you ask for evidence. When flattery knocks, you ask for terms. When guilt knocks, you ask for the bill. If they cannot pay in facts, they wait outside. The chamber stays clean. Every morning, sweep the room, name the 3 outcomes that matter, and put them on the table. Everything else stands by the door until these are served. When someone pushes a crisis at you, walk them to the threshold. Does this change our top 3 outcomes? If not, the crisis waits in the hall. Your mind learns the habit of order. Your team learns your borders. Peace becomes predictable, not accidental. Keep symbols you can carry through the day. A ring you turn when bait appears. A breath measured to the length of a short sentence. Not now, not here. A rule engraved on the inside of your palm. Heat is not a reason. These are not superstitions. They are handles you control. The world pulls you hold. The room grows loud. Your chamber stays lit. With this circle intact, you can finally speak like a sovereign. Calm does not forbid force. It chooses its moment. When you move once. A boundary stated once, enforced once, becomes law. A decision explained once to allies, never to audiences, becomes direction. You stop narrating and start governing. People feel the difference. The ones who loved your chaos drift away. The ones who value results step closer. Now the final oath, write it not in marble but in your routines. No free reactions. If someone wants your heat, make them pay with facts, time on the calendar, and a clear objective. No public spirals. If a scene begins, you end it or exit it. You are not entertainment. No cheap battles. If it won't matter in 3 months, it won't matter in 3 minutes. You fight for the ledger, not for the applause. Say the oath before hard rooms. Say it after small slips. Say it when you are tired and when you are tempted. The quiet crown is not given. It is worn hour by hour by the person who protects their inner court from noise and keeps their face from becoming a lever. That is how you keep your future from being priced by strangers. That is how you trade provocation for power and storm for signal. Choose peace because it pays. Guard the chamber because it guides. Rule your attention because it rules your life. Rule your face. Guard your throne. Spend your calm.